Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Voices for Change 2.0, the mental health podcast that's changing the discussion one voice at a time, featuring guests that will help end the stigma and keep talking mental health. And now, here are your hosts, Rebecca and Joe Lombardo.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Voices for Change 2.0.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in this morning. This first day, or the first Saturday in October of 2020. I don't know how it is for where you're at, but here in the Metro Detroit area, it's cool. It's chilly. It's sweatshirt weather and
Sweater weather.
Yes. And I'm cold. So, how you doing, babe?
I'm doing okay. I'm feeling a little bit colder now that we've been sitting up for a while.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do some hot chocolate or something after the show.
Yeah.
That'd be good. So, something I've been kind of thinking about is the transforming power of music on our lives. You know, I know I mentioned this to you briefly before the show started, and it's funny what kind of soundtrack we set up for ourselves in our lives. You know, things that I've noticed that I've had to do, like, for example, I made a couple of playlists on Spotify, and one is for when I'm feeling really angry, you know, just to kind of help me sort through my feelings, and the other one is when I'm feeling kind of down or melancholy, and you know, again, that kind of helps me sort through my feelings, and it's powerful, the kind of impact that has on your state of mind.
Yeah, I find that I'm way too influenced by music. That's why sometimes I specifically can't listen to any, because I find myself too engrossed in it. You know, and excuse me, and the feelings kind of take over. It's kind of frustrating.
Huh. Okay. Well, you know, I can see that. You know, music is definitely a powerful entity, I guess, for lack of a better word. I mean, how do you really describe it? You know, and you know, you see it in different places, like movies. You know, that's half the thing with with.
Sorry, I'm dying over here.
That's okay, dude. That's half the thing with movies, is you get more emotionally drawn in because of the soundtrack. And just, you know, if it's supposed to be exciting, you know, the soundtrack might be that way, or they want you to feel sad about a situation, you know, the music is written that way. And, you know, with the years of playing music under my belt, being able to understand how music can manipulate your emotions, it's something. You know, it's funny how it can affect you. I've mentioned before on this show that sometimes I have to use music to get in a certain type of mood, like for example, Christmas. You know, I'm
not ready for that yet.
I know. But I OD on Christmas music every year, and I kind of have to at this point for me to get in the Christmas mood, you know, and have the Christmas spirit and everything. And I know it's something you're supposed to carry in your heart every day and whatnot. You know, I get that. But, you know, some years you're not feeling it. And you kind of need that extra little push. So, you know, you hear, you know, Jingle Bells. So, I don't know. I know just for me that it's just something that I kind of have to have in my life, which is funny because I almost have this running commentary constantly in my head, and people talk about mindfulness and being able to just shut everything off and living in the moment and being focused on where you are at that moment in time.
That's so hard for me to do. I have so much trouble with that.
Me too. I'll try and instantly something will start going in my head, some song or something, or I'll think of a memory and that'll pop up a song. And that's another thing with music is it can, for good or bad, it can transport you back to another time in your life. I know for me, like if I hear, say, something off of 1984 from Van Halen, it takes me right back to the year 1984 and being a kid listening to that and feelings of summer, especially summer. It's kind of a terrible segue, but it is what it is.
Well, we've been absent for the last couple of weeks because we've been dealing with some family issues.
Mm-hmm.
And if anybody has ever dealt with a family member passing and then having to deal with their estate and the trust and everything, you understand where we're coming from when we say that it's been a struggle.
Yes.
So we appreciate you hanging on with us as we sort through some stuff and occasionally don't have a brand new show for you, but we're back today.
Yep.
So,
and we got a lot going on over here.
Yep.
So thanks for your patience and your diligence and tuning in. And we love you guys. We appreciate every single one of our listeners. And I know we've said this in the past, but we couldn't do this without you. So
right.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to my incoherent ramblings about music.
Well, today we have a very special guest. This is his second time being on our show.
One more show closer to the golden jacket.
Yep. I think you got to do 5 for that, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a little while before we can squeeze 5 in, but...
Yeah, I think we owe Rudy Caceres a jacket, though.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So, sorry, Rudy.
But he is a public speaker and a mental health advocate, of course, and a force to be reckoned with as far as, what he's been able to create to benefit the mental health community as a whole. He's really, really been working his butt off getting all these programs started and finding new ways to help people with what they're going through. And we're just really grateful that he's taken a Saturday morning off to be on the show with us. So please welcome to our show, Jacob Moore.
Well, hello. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Morning. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying a crisp fall day in Southwest Michigan.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Came
Not
up to
bad.
see my folks for my my mom's and my brother's birthday. So it's nice to get out of the
Not
city
bad.
and enjoy it.
Nice. Yeah, Southwest Michigan's beautiful.
Oh man.
Traveled over there a bit, so I know of which you speak. But it's all colorful already too.
It's the leaves have started to change. The drive-in was really nice, and it's just that nice, just cool fall air. So it's a good change. I'm feeling good about all this long spring and summer with coronavirus and everything that's going on in the world. It's like just a breath of fresh air. It feels good.
Yeah. Indeed. We slept with the window open last night, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty damn cold this morning, but it was nice having the fresh air in and not having to run an air conditioner and have all that white noise and stuff. So it's been pretty good. So everybody's happy and healthy.
Yeah, everything's doing good. In fact, I've started to travel again a bit. I was just down in Virginia and North Carolina, so I had to, do a voluntary quarantine for 14 days after that, and just got my COVID test back this morning actually, and I'm in the clear, so it feels good to start to like get back out in the world a little bit, and not the virtual thing, for those of us with any sort of social anxiety, the virtual thing is nice. But like after about 6 months, I'm like, you know what? I think maybe I should, get out there and like, see some humans again.
Yeah. I feel you on that. We've been relying on virtual appointments for a lot of different doctor's appointments and whatnot. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been a bit of a godsend really for us.
Yeah, for me especially, just with the agoraphobia and the social anxiety, like you mentioned, getting out and about is tricky. So it's been really a benefit for me.
Yeah, there are like some things about this environment that it's like, okay, like that works, and like maybe we should keep doing some of these things. Lindsay, my partner, she is a bit of an introvert, and she's just like, I love grocery shopping now. It's great because we go and there's like the aisles are clear and it's open and it's like there's no one there, and she's like, now I don't have to make excuses for wanting to just like be at home and read. She's like, I can just like do it, and it's socially acceptable, and it's like it's great.
Yep.
So so there are some things, and and I got to say, like it's been, as far as the work that I do, I mean, I have missed getting out and doing, conferences and speaking events and seeing people because I'm a bit more extroverted. But I will say that, like, I've been able to connect with so many more people than I was before because now, there's just like everybody's down with Zoom calls, and I'm keynoting a conference next week. That's totally virtual, and there's going to be like over 1,000 attendees, and I'm going to like be able to connect with a bunch more people than I would have otherwise. So there are some things I'm like, okay, this is pretty rad. So
yeah, that's the one thing that I've really noticed with all of this is you have a certain situation presented where all of a sudden you can sit at home in at least from the waist down, you're in your pajamas and you're talking to all these different people, and you can be more relaxed and more comfortable in your skin. I don't know if you heard it, but Beck mentioned how we're working on some estate issues right now, and we had to do a virtual court hearing back in July, and it was nerve-wracking, but at the same time it was so much easier than actually having to go to the court. Our court is a bit of a drive from here in Oakland County, and having to get up real early and get cleaned up and drive all that way and then sit there in a courtroom and wait. It was nice being able to just be like, okay, be on camera at this time and go. So it's definitely some benefits to it. Mind you that there's also sometimes you do miss the interaction. Like if I'm getting food, I hate going through the drive-through. I absolutely hate going through the drive-through. I prefer walking in and getting the food and looking the person in the face and saying, "This is what I want," and not hearing her. And it's like, no, that's not what I want. This is what I want. And knowing that they understood me, you know, and there's only a couple of places around here that you can actually do that. You know, most of the places are still just drive-through, and you know, they every time they screw you in the drive-through.
Right. Yeah. No, it's you know, there are benefits and drawbacks, and I think the challenge is to know yourself, to know your needs, and to, you know, to self-advocate for that, right? To be someone who says, here's what I need in this situation, whether it's still wanting social connection, even, you know, in a virtual space, or, you know, what you want at the drive-through, or, you know, in like for medical care, you know, if you're going and you're seeing, you know, your doctors or your psychiatrists and your psychologists, your counselors. I mean, I've been doing online therapy for a while now, and, you know, being able to say, okay, well, here's the situation. I can't change it, but how can I make the best of it and still connect you know, these human beings and ask for what I need, you know, and I think that's the skill set that a lot of people maybe didn't have coming into COVID, or can be challenging in general, but that we've had to kind of develop, you know, and then still learning how to navigate it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, if you don't have any questions for us, we're going to start asking you some stuff. What do you think of that?
Okay. All right. Sounds like a deal.
Cool. You want to start, babe?
Sure.
Okay.
Pardon me, as I clear my throat. I'm losing my voice here today.
I blame the orange juice.
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah.
So anyway, for those of our listeners that aren't familiar with your backstory, Jacob, why don't you fill us in on where your mental health journey began?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I did hear a little bit of the pre-show there, and you were talking about 1984 and that monumental album. So my story starts, you know, a few years before that, a couple years before that, and you know, growing up in Arizona, we were pretty poor family. My mom was just 19 when she got pregnant with me, and my parents weren't married. My father was someone who really struggled with addiction to alcohol, other drugs too, but, you know, alcohol, you know, marijuana were his big vices, his big challenges, and you know, he had some abuse from his childhood and some trauma that he experienced. So that, coupled with, you know, having a pretty anxious disposition and struggling with anxiety, made for, you know, a really difficult environment. He was, you know, in and out of jail a lot when I was young, and so, you know, oftentimes it would just be my mom taking care of me, and then, you know, very shortly after that, my sister and my brother came. So, you know, by the time 1984 hit, you know, she was 24 years old and had 3 kids. And, you know, with a father who, you know, was really, I mean, well-meaning and a loving human being, but just had such profound struggles and really no tools to be able to deal with that. You know, we were just kind of in that mode of just trying to get by. And my mom, you know, really, she wanted to do everything she could to protect us and to make sure that we were safe. And so after, you know, several years of that environment, she decided that, you know, needed to split and to kind of take us out of that environment. And really my mom was my father's, like, his only anchor. And as soon as he lost that, he really lost his ability to be able to manage mental health. It spiraled out of control pretty quickly, and started using your drugs and the relationships that he had in a way, needed to really take place. And shortly after that, in 1987, I was old at that point. He took his own life and died by suicide. So it was something I remember. Being told about by my grandparents, and something that I think just rocked my world in so many ways. At that young age, I had this really profound sense of guilt associated with that. I felt like if I had, been a better kid, if I had, caused less stress, less issues for my parents, then maybe, they could have stayed together, or maybe things wouldn't have been so hard. And, and then suddenly I'm the oldest, the boy, I'm the man of the house, and it just, I took on a lot of responsibility. My mom and I, we're 20 years apart. So as she says often, like, we grew up together. And I think, I just, from that young age, I really took on that role and that responsibility. And we were, again, we were poor. My mom was young. There were three of us. We didn't have tools. We didn't have, tactics to be able to to navigate that, to be able to, deal with it in a healthy way. And so we were just in survival mode and just getting by. And it was a really, really difficult period of my life. And that's, for me, that trauma that I experienced was the beginning of this, what's been now a lifelong journey of dealing with, the aftermath of that and the resulting, I think triggers for my own mental health issues that were probably partially genetic and partially environmental.
Wow. You've been through the ringer.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. God bless you, and God bless your mom.
She's such a strong lady. She just turned 60 this past week, and we just celebrated her birthday this weekend. That's why I'm in Michigan, and just so amazing to see what she's done with her life and how she's gone on this amazing journey to raising kids, getting remarried, having two stepsons from her second marriage, and in her 30s she went back to school. She dropped out of school. She dropped out of college to have me. Went back to college, got her degree, 4.0, Dean's List. Then got her master's when she was my age. She's 40. Has her master's degree, and now has been teaching, working in the public school system for 30 years. She teaches special education, and she's just an amazing, strong, resilient woman. And I would not be here today without her.
Oh. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's nice. And happy birthday to your mom. That's great that you guys have that kind of relationship, and because going through what you guys went through can sometimes put a strain on the rest of the family and cause division. And the fact that you guys really rallied the wagons and we're all in it together. I mean, that just speaks to how strong all of you are, really. So well done, you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't know. I think part of it for me is just this, and I think I get it from my grandpa, who's, a result, like he was born, just after the Second War and Great Depression, and he's just like a resilient man, tough as nails, and I think just my sheer force of will that has kept me moving forward and surviving is a result of that perspective, but then coupled with all the support, because between my mom and my grandparents, have had an incredible amount of support that has bolstered me to a point to be able to do the work. And it's been a lot of work, and there's been so many times along the way where I've wanted to give up, but I think seeing like my mom and seeing my grandpa and seeing people that I'm like, well, if they can get through it, then I can,
Yeah, for sure. Well, at this point, we're going to take a break. I think it's a good spot to take a break. So we're going to take a break.
Absolutely.
What do you think of that? Why do I keep asking why people think of that?
I don't know.
That's weird. Anyway, we're going to be listening to What Love Is All About by Carly Robin Green. And you guys enjoy the music, and we will see you on the other side. Stay tuned.
I know you've been worth waiting.
welcome back to Voices for Change 2.0. I'm Joe. She's Rebecca. She's the cutest little thing this side of the Rio Grande. I don't know. Anyway, and on the line with us, we have the lovely and talented Mr. Jacob Moore. Hello, sir.
Hello, hello.
So, jumping into things, please talk to us about No Stigmas. What made you decide to create this community?
Yeah, for sure. So No Stigmas really came out of my own experiences with finding peer support. I, very fortunately connected with a gentleman who was for a brief time, sort of a mentor to me, and shared his story. For the first time, I heard from someone else who had, lived with anxiety, lived with depression, had suicidal ideation, had lost a family member to suicide, and the first time in my life, outside of my family, that I felt like I wasn't alone, and it was just life-changing for me. Not only that sense of belonging to this club that no one wants to be part of, but just
right.
this sense of not being alone in it was really reassuring. But I think more than that, he challenged me with my own wellness and my approach to it. Because I realized through that interaction that I was relying on my family, the doctors, the pharmaceuticals, to do the work for me. And I wasn't taking responsibility. I wasn't taking personal responsibility and ownership of my own mental health. And what that meant was that that I wasn't part of the solution. I wasn't part of customizing something for me. And it was a revelation for me, because I'd always seen myself as someone who was strong and who was smart and who had talents, but I didn't realize that I was actually kind of being lazy with my own health. And that just changed everything. It changed that perspective, and I started to realize that there were so many people out there in the world who were in a similar situation, who felt alone, felt like they had no options, felt like there was no solution, trying the same thing over and over and over again, and it not working. And so that really kind of set me on a mission to start to connect with others. And I did that through sharing my story. And the more that I shared, the more that it really started to break down these barriers and these stigmas. And so that's how the community came to be. Originally just on Facebook, just a Facebook page where, people were sharing their story and connecting. And then from there it grew. And now, we have about 100,000 community members worldwide, and
wow.
just under 5,000 people who have been through our ally training, which teaches you the principles from a peer support perspective, from a lived expertise perspective, how to practice self-care, take that ownership of your mental health, and how to participate in peer support in a healthy, codependent way. And it's been a really cool journey. Cool to see the ripple effects, as my minds would say, of just how how our stories can be connected and can be used and harnessed to lift each other up.
I am one of those 5,000 people that have taken the ally training. By the way.
Yep.
Right on. I love it.
I found it incredibly beneficial, so I appreciate that.
Good. I'm glad, and I think it's unique in the sense that, you know, we do come from a lived experience perspective, and that peer support lens. You know, of course, it's informed by evidence-based practices, and we have a wellness council that's everything that we do to make sure that it's all sound and it's, you know, positive and helpful for people. But I think that's what I saw that was missing, and it's been really cool to see now, you know, since 2011, since we launched that, how the culture has shifted and the general conversation around mental health has shifted, and I think we've done as a society a great job of starting to break down those stigmas, and you know, and there's a lot more research and validity around peer support and lived expertise, and it's been just cool to just observe that progress, you know, and be part of it, of course.
Yeah, it's amazing seeing the just all the changes that have gone on just in the last few years with perspectives, and you know, people aren't afraid to talk about it as much anymore. You know, there's a lot more understanding now. You know, you mentioned to somebody, hey, I'm dealing, I've got anxiety, I've got depression, whatever, and instead of running screaming into the night, people are like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, do you want to talk to me about it? Or, you know, I'm going through something similar. And having that I don't want to say camaraderie, but that, you know, the shared experience. I mean, it really, it makes a healthy impact on you as a person, knowing that you're not alone, you know? It's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and here's the thing is I don't need someone to totally get where I've been and what I've been through. I don't even need them to understand. And in some cases, I would even go as far as saying, like, I don't even need your empathy. All that I ask is that you don't judge, is that you don't stigmatize, and just allow me to be. And I think that's just, you know, if we can get enough people in this world to just say, oh, okay, you have this mental health challenge, just like other people have other health challenges. Okay, cool. As long as, like, if we can get people to just see, you know, us as whole people, and to, you know, give as much, you know, like, as much validity to the mental health as all other health challenges, like, I think that's I'm good. That feels good for me.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it'd be nice to be able to do it in the same breath as, like, oh, I'm diabetic. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry. Well, let's, you know, go get salads then. You know, yeah, it just having it be a commonplace kind of thing. You know, maybe commonplace is the wrong word, but, you know, just like I said, not running screaming into the night.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Well, I definitely think that we've, especially I've noticed on Twitter, when I first started posting about my story, and then eventually about my book and my blog and everything, there were a lot of haters and people that were negative about the conversation and complaining about how many people were on there talking about their mental health and things like that. And I don't know if I've just done a really good job of blocking them, or they've actually, you know, backed down a bit and
change their tune.
Yeah, just not being so negative about the whole experience, and just letting us be and talk about what we need to talk about, and make sure that everyone feels included. I think that it's been a big change over the last few years, and I think that programs like yours are, you know, a good portion of why.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate that. And, and those stigmas and the ally training, I think definitely fill a role. But it's not everything. And as I often say, it takes a lot of really good programming and a lot of great organizations and advocates like you two, also sharing their stories. We certainly teach principles of, crisis intervention, and we try to train our allies to be helpful in those situations, conduits to care. But this program is not, say, mental health first aid, which is, like CPR for the brain. So there are other great programs out there. And it's all about collaboration. It's all about, sharing our resources and our stories and building this network. And in that way, we're stronger together. And, and I think that's when we all kind of adopt that principle of like, I'm not an expert in everything. And if I can do this one thing really well, but then I can connect with others who do these other things really well, then suddenly, okay, we can, as a community, be, self-sufficient and really start to, lift up the collective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
It's awesome. You have also created a platform called 5 Bridges. Do you want to tell us about that and how you got that started?
Yeah, for sure. So 5 Bridges is really, kind of it was for me the next logical step in this process. It's like, okay, so No Stigmas is peer support, and that help to, kind of give ourselves that base of, of strength, then what do we do next? What comes after that? And that's where 5 Bridges came in for me, was understanding that I had to take ownership of my own wellness. And so I started doing research and looking for answers, knowing that, because I'd been to a dozen different doctors. I'd had, diagnoses from, seasonal affective disorder to bipolar disorder, ADD, depression, anxiety, like, everything in between. I had all these diagnoses and all these prescriptions, all these meds. I had 33 different combinations of pharmaceuticals over the years, and nothing fixed my brain. And like I said before, I was depending on the doctors, and I was depending on the pharmaceuticals to do that work. And, and so kind of this light going off in my brain, being like, oh, this is your health, Jake. Like, no one knows you as well as you do. So of course, like, if you're gonna find a solution, like, you got to find the solution, right? And so I started doing a lot of research and talking to different people who had different experiences, and that's where that peer support came in, to be able to like connect with people and learn from them. And I worked with the professionals as well, and what I started to do was customize a solution for myself, and I did some self-experimentation along the way too, which I don't necessarily recommend without working with a doctor, but I'd gotten to the point where I was kind of desperate, and I was like, no, let's see what works here. And so I've tried it all. If it's a mental health approach, tool, solution, I've tried it. And what I started to find was that things generally fell into 5 different categories, 5 different areas that I could directly impact and have some amount of control over. And as I started to invest in that more, this system, which I now call the 5 Bridges, started to surface. And So I'll tell you what the bridges are so that you understand kind of what the approach is. So the first bridge is called bond, and bond is all about how you connect to your sources of strength. So the people, places, and things that support you, right? So that can include peer support. It can include professional support, familial support. But we take that further and we look at, our pets and the animals in our lives that support us, the places, our home or sacred places, nature, that gives us some sort of support. Objects that are meaningful to us, whether that's, tactile or something that's, that has great value to us. So all of these things that lift us up, that give us some sort of support, we look at how do we connect to them in positive, healthy ways, non-codependent ways, and by diversifying these sources of support, we're able to give ourselves everything we need. And this is the one time where I'm like, hey, you get to be really selfish here. When you're choosing who and what you bond to, this is 100% about you. This is the chance where it's okay for this to be a one-way street, and just look at, who and what you're choosing to include in your life to lift you up, to give you this sort of base of this homeostasis, right? So once we've done that, once we've selected our who and what we bond to, and once we've diversified that, then we have all this good energy coming toward us, right? That's helping to lift us up. Then the next bridge that we look at, the second bridge, is fuel. We start to look at anything and everything that goes into the system. So we look at our food and our beverages, but we also look at our medicine, our supplements. We take it a step further and we look at the input that comes in from the media that we consume, what we watch, what we listen to, the conversations that we have, because everything that goes into the system has an opposite and equal reaction in the system, right? So from the food that we eat to the things that we put on our skin, that all impacts the system some way. So we look at how do we customize this input, this fuel, to best suit our needs and your complex customized system, right? So after fuel, we look at the third bridge, which is move. And move is what you do with your body. This is your kinesthetic output. Of course, that includes things like exercise and mobility and stretching, but we go deeper and we look at, those micro movements in our body. We look at breath work. We look at the neurological systems, the electrical impulses, the cardiovascular system, and how it all works together, how it works in conjunction with fuel, how that is affected by our bond, and how we connect it. And we start to bridge, right, these things together and see how they work together. When we look at, after we move, it's very natural to come to the fourth bridge, which is rest. Rest is, of course, our sleep routine, sleep hygiene, our morning routine, but we also get other ways that we rest, both mentally and physically. So anytime we get to rejuvenate, get to rebuild, retreat, that can include things like meditation and prayer and other ways that we rest as well. And then how does rest, connect with our move and the fuel and what we're bringing in? Some of those things and places that we bond to, like nature, can also be a place of rest. How are those interconnected and how do they affect each other? And hopefully, as we're journeying through these bridges, we're finding ourselves being lifted up more and more and having more stability. And then we come to the fifth and final bridge, which is give. And give is your positive output. This is taking all of the great work that we've done and all of this energy that we have and putting it out there into the world in a positive way. So, of course, that can be, things like volunteerism or charity or, words of affirmation, or like the work that you two are doing to get, to put, like take your experiences and put that out in the world in a positive way. That's a form of giving. And the cool thing is that when we give, it not only disrupts the patterns, that we experience sometimes, those negative feedback loops. It helps us get a bigger perspective on the world and see that there's so much going on and so many people that, we can help support. But then when we put that positive energy out there, it forms a bond to someone else and it helps lift them up. So then in that way, the 5 bridges are really cyclic. It's a self-sustaining energy loop. When we're giving and connecting to other people, it helps to feed back into the system as well, which then helps the collective and creates community as well. So those are the 5 bridges in a nutshell. And again, it just really came out of my own personal journey to try to figure out, like, how do I manage all of this stuff? How do I manage this mental and physical health stuff and, make some sense out of it? And for me, having a system and being able to, kind of categorize things helped a lot.
Yeah, it's when you start to realize that we're all interconnected, it really gives you a different perspective on life and how you interact with it and how it interacts with you. And, it's deep.
Well, yeah, and it's wide as well, because if you look at that and how that connection really spreads throughout the world and time and really connects us beyond just who and what we are and the experiences that we're going through. Which, not to diminish them, they're big, they're huge, and for some of us, like, that's our world. But it's also about everything and everyone else. And I think kind of understanding that and having that perspective helps. And that's why really at first I was like, ooh, I found this thing and it's all mine and I'm gonna keep it all for myself. And then I was like, I don't think that's really how it's meant to be. How I'm meant to use this because here's the thing, and I'll tell you, the 5 bridges, like, it's not brand new information. Like, as I tell people the bridges, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. This is not like I've heard this, but what it is the way that it's arranged, the way that it's connected and systemized, so that we can actually work on these things. And so what's developed out of there is using principles of positive psychology and working with my team, we've developed these approaches, these activities that allow us to actually pull it all apart, look at it in a non-judgmental way, rearrange it to make it work better for ourselves, and then put it back together and hit play. So we do that through coaching. So we have now I think we have about 30 coaches on the team who are all trained in the 5 Bridges system to work with either individuals or small groups and help guide them through that process. And then workshops, both traditionally in person. Now we do monthly Zoom sessions, and we're just trying to get that information out there as much as possible and help people who, like me, were just lost and didn't know where to start. That's the goal here. Is like, here's a place to start and to go and to grow from there.
It's definitely a good foundation for anybody who's looking for answers, especially newly diagnosed or what have you. And that's great. It's kudos to you for developing all this stuff, really, from no stigmas to the ally training to the 5 Bridges. It's comprehensive, and while it's educational as far as showing that we're, like I said, all interconnected, for someone who's new to all this, being able to come in and say, well, yeah, well, this is going on and this is going on and this is this and this is that. It's kind of a relief. You know, it's like, someone has already done this. You know, this will help me navigate through what I'm going through, you know, and it's just massive, man. Really, seriously, great. You know, Jacob, it's incredible what you've got established.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you. And I mean, it certainly has not been a solo project. You know, I've had a lot of help, a lot of advice, a lot of research along the way. But that's exactly why I did it, because I was like, I struggled for so long and I wandered around in the dark for so long that I was like, oh gosh, I found, you know, what now feels like a shortcut. I was like, if I can give this to someone else and help save them all that time and struggle, and, you know, like, please, like, you know, take it, do it. And of course, like I say, with No Stigmas, with 5 Bridges, like, it's not the right solution for everybody. But, you know, and I want people to, like, if these, you know, if this community or if this system isn't a good fit for you, like, please keep searching till you find what works for you. Just keep going, because it's hard. It's really hard. And sometimes you're going to feel like giving up, but it is 100% worth it. It's so worth it when you get to the other side, or when you can catch that glimpse of hope and you're like, oh, okay, now I know why. And I often say this, and it sounds so weird, but like, I wouldn't change any of it. I really, as hard as it was, everything that I've gone through, you know, being poor and, you know, messing up and losing relationships and losing jobs and going to jail and like almost dying, like, I wouldn't change any of it because of where I am now and the clarity that I have, because now I'm like, oh, I get to use this. I get to use this to help other people, you know. That to me is like a huge gift. So no matter what, like, wherever you're at, keep going, because there is a purpose for this. There's something that you get to do with this, and it's going to be cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that is awesome, and that is unfortunately all the time that we have. We would love to be talking to you a bit longer, but we'll have to have you back on the show to answer the rest of our questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really quick, if you could give out your social media, so if people want to reach out and find out more about your programs and stuff, they'll be able to.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at No Stigmas. That's No Stigmas with an S, plural, because there are more than one, on every social media platform. At the 5 Bridges, 5 like the number 5, and then I'm at Jacob Moore on Instagram. That's the best place to catch up with me.
Sweet. Well, thank you for taking the time with us today, sir. You stay on the line. Everybody else, you're going to be listening to Hayden Joseph with My Name.
And we'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah, have a great week. Everybody stay safe and healthy and wear your mask.
Everyone knows everyone, it's hard to feel at peace. Never know who might be sitting at the table next to me. I'm always someone's cousin, someone's brother, someone's son. And everyone knows everything about crazy stuff I've done. In this stick around town, all small talk is the same, when nobody's a stranger and my name means everything. Reached a point in life where I think I can afford to broaden my horizons and open up new doors. I love where I was raised, it made me who I am today, but the fear of what I'm missing in the world won't go away. more than who's having a baby and who might get a divorce. No one thinks they know me from the stories they've been told, and I don't have to think twice about the hands I want to hold. 1,000 other people on any given train. Here I'm just another stranger, and my name don't mean a thing. I love the fast pace, but at times I miss the place when nobody's a stranger and my name means everything. I might live far away at the end of the day. I know just where I came from and my name ain't gonna change.